since I'm like recording in a virtual Disney and it's a video, does this count as a vlog? Is it like an e-vlog? How many ways can we change the word blog? Hello everybody and welcome to A Day in the Parks, the series where I sort of wander around these virtual Minecraft recreations of the Disney parks and just talk about Disney. It's just sort of, I guess, my own little podcast. It's like a video podcast. If we have vlogs from blogs, why don't we have a video podcast as like vodcasts or something? Is that a term? I don't want to make that the term. Anyway, we're here on MC Magic. We're at Hollywood Studios. People have been asking me to go to other servers. I will in the future actually have some interesting new things to show in the next coming weeks. But I wanted to give some of these servers time to work on some new stuff that they're working on. For instance, I know that Hyperion Parks opened the Shanghai Disneyland, which I really wanted to make a video on. But right now it seems like it's just the hub area that's open. So I'm sort of giving them a little bit more time to work on, stuff like that. And I wanted to, rather than explore something new, talk about a topic. I've been sort of getting into this rhythm with the series where I pick a topic to talk about and then I just go for it. And this week, I think I would like to talk about vlogging. And it's something that's been on my mind a lot because I started doing it last year with our September trip to Disney. It wasn't like really good. And then over this past summer when I went twice, I really stepped it up and I think I did a lot better with it. And so, now that I've got this January trip coming up in just a couple of months now, I'm really starting to think about how can I improve, right? I'm always trying to improve in whatever I'm doing. And so it made me think about vlogs in not only just the sense of how I do them, but just in general, because I've been watching more and more vlogs, whether it's like Christine's or, other YouTubers that I've been following. And I realized there's still room to evolve that format. And I would love to think of new ways to do so. And I guess the best way to do that is to do it aloud. So, if you don't watch vlogs, because you might not, they're essentially, it's weird that the word vlog is what's used because I think they're no different from home movies, except they're just catered towards the internet. Way before there was a YouTube, people still brought video cameras to their vacations and they recorded everything and they pieced it all together. Maybe they didn't edit them as much, but they were there and they were there to document these trips. So, they weren't called vlogs then. They weren't called blogs. They were just home movies. And that's essentially what these are. But I guess that's not Web 2.0 enough, so we call them vlogs. And certainly the formats changed a little bit. Although there are multiple formats that exist right now. They just started wrapping up. I don't think they're updating anymore, but See You Real Soon's probably one of the most iconic Disney vlogging channels out there. They've been doing it for years, and their style is very different from like what I do, right? What they do is very long form. The idea is each of their episodes can be anywhere from like 20 to 30 plus minutes, and they include a lot of stuff that like someone like me normally would cut out. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a different style. But it shows how there is this variety when it comes to vlogs and how you can sort of document your trip. They'll show a lot of like eating at the parks when they sit down to eat. By the way, I'm just really impressed with like all the details, like the police do not cross signs, even though you can't go here in the real Hollywood Studios anymore. I love that they left it open here. We'll hop on like Star Tours or something. Anyway, they leave a lot of that stuff, which I would normally cut out because I try to keep my videos a little shorter and more easily digestible. And because I've done that twice now, I'm starting to think of like, well, how can I mix things up? Because you don't want to just do the same thing over and over and over again. Sure, it'll work for some people, but that's just not really interesting to me. And I do these shorter little bits where I'm, throwing out little clips and then, breaking them apart. It's essentially, a focus on the people, right? And as any vlog should be. Oh, they're still working on it. At the end of the day, if you want to see a ride like Star Tours, for instance, you could find a really dedicated high-def ride through POV video on YouTube. Those exist for virtually every ride, and there are people who do it on almost a professional level now that, the day a ride opens, you'll have that. So there's no purpose in me, like, recording the entirety of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'd imagine why people watch vlogs is for the personalities, right? I would hope that when you watch like my vlogs at Disney, it's because you want to see like me and Christine and Kat and everybody who's on the trip, less than the actual trip itself. Of course, it's important. You want elements of it, but you know, it's mostly about the people. So I usually just find those moments in which I think we're at our funniest or most interesting, and then I put those together and then just add any footage where, you know, it adds context. We could do Great Movie Ride. Whereas like where I feel like some vloggers, like a See You Real Soon, they obviously do have a ton of them. And again, similarly, I think people have followed them for years because of them and not because of the footage they shoot. But I think they also include a lot more of ride-throughs and things like that. So I guess it feels less like you're watching a highlight reel of a couple's vacation, and it feels a little bit more like you're on vacation with that couple. Anyway, what I was trying to get at is, well, this is 19 minutes long. Wow. Holy moly. What I was trying to get at is I'm trying to find or think of ways to mix things up. And right now, what I'm thinking of is and this is something I played with in the past, and it didn't work out very well because I didn't prepare for it very well. But, you know, I think when a lot of people vlog, Disney or otherwise, they keep things very chronological. You know, it's the beginning of the trip, the next day, the next day, the next day. You look at like a See You Real Soon, and that's sort of how they do it as well, where it's, you know, day 8 part 1, day 8 part 2, so it feels chronological in that way. What I had tried to do originally was break it up by park as opposed to day, because we had gone on a week-long trip last September. I recorded a bunch of random stuff. It didn't feel like I had enough footage to do a chronological vlog, but I felt like there was enough to break it up into parks. And so what I did was a Magic Kingdom video and an Epcot video, and I took all of the clips from all of the different days and I strung those together, so it was almost like the focus was on the park, not on us, not on, you know, the timeline of what happened. And it didn't work out too well because I just didn't have a whole lot of footage. I was working on the montage at that point, and so I had like a lot of random B-roll footage that had none of us in it. So I'm not very proud of those vlogs, but, you know, they were like warm-ups, and I was super proud of my montage, so I didn't really care that much. So part of me wants to revisit that idea a little bit, but instead of focusing on the parks and doing a video for each park, sort of focusing on individual people, because I'm going on a trip with 9, well, it'll be 9 total, myself included, so 8 other people. And I feel like, you know, a good story is the story of a person, of a character. And in these cases, these characters are real people. And that's sort of how I've tried to always edit anything I do, is like, what is the story that's being told there? And I thought it'd be interesting to keep it bite-sized rather than cutting an actual like documentary, although I try to shoot these like a documentary, is to like break it up by person. So like, to give you, for instance, one of the people on our trip coming on the group this trip is Meg, Kat's sister, who has been there before but hasn't been there since like high school, and she's not a big thrill ride person, but she sort of agreed to try out thrill rides because she's seen how Kat was also not a thrill ride person, and then she rode thrill rides and really loved them. And so like her story there, as far as I can tell, is a person sort of overcoming maybe not a fear outright, but like this you know, avoidance of thrill rides. And that's sort of her story of this trip. And I'm wondering if there's a way I can shoot all of this so that that becomes her. So the vlog would, rather than be day 1 part 1, it would be, you know, the Disney 2017 vlog, Meg, like the Meg part. And then, you know, for instance, one of Christine's friends who's going, his name's Matt, it's going to be his birthday while we're there, and we're going to be celebrating it at Ohana's. And so maybe there's a story there of him celebrating his birthday at Disney. And, you know, my buddy Ed and his girlfriend are coming along, and I don't think they've ever been to Disney World, and so this is their first time, and so that's their unique story, and everybody's got a unique story. And I thought it'd be interesting to make a vlog series where it focuses on those elements as opposed to just like, this is what we're doing now, we're going to this ride, that ride. And I'm sort of torn of two minds because I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to shoot that, right? My background is in film production, so I do know a little bit about, you know, covering things and making sure you have enough footage, but like I've never really delved deep into documentary. And even though this isn't a documentary, I think vlogging and documentaries have a lot in common. You're essentially documenting somebody's life, right? Or that moment of their life. And I feel like the lesson that I've always learned is just record everything. Have that camera out all the time, record everything, put the stories together after the fact. But that can't really be the case, right? Because you have to figure out what you want to capture, because you can't literally just roll the camera all 7 days. So I guess you have to know what you're trying to get and what you're not trying to get. And so that's sort of where my mind's been. I want to push vlogging in a new direction. That sounds so stuck up and like snobby, like I want to push the format of vlogging into an artistic direction. But really what it is I just want to do something different, because that's the way you prevent yourself from getting bored, and that's how you continue to have fun doing something. And you know, I could do the exact same thing I did in July or August, and you know, for all I know, that might end up being what happens if I can't put together these stories. But you know, I want to go in and attempt something differently, so I think that's what I'm going to be trying. My biggest wonder is like how people are going to react to having a camera out all the time. You know, Christine and I, we vlog all the time when we are on these trips, and so I feel like we're used to it, and I think Kat's gotten used to it. But pretty much everyone else on our trip, they don't have YouTube channels. They don't do YouTube, so they'll probably be a little awkward at first having a camera out and pointed at them. So I have to try and think of ways to sort of condition them to it, or just, you know, respect their decision if they don't want to be it. You know, like I think maybe Meg sort of conquering her fear of roller coasters is a cool idea for video, but if she doesn't want to be on video, you know, I'm obviously not going to force her or just record her against her will. That'd be sort of a jerk thing to do. So I got to work out those sort of things. And then it's just got me thinking in general about like what other ways we can go about changing vlogging. Like, are there different ways? Maybe there are. Like, I only watch some Disney vlogs. I'm sure there are other vloggers out there who might do things differently. You know, it is a very pliable, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's a malleable format. It's something that you could play around with a lot. Like maybe doing some sort of, you know, out of sequence vlog. You know, we think of doing things A, B, C, and D, and even if you're telling a story, you might jump around a bit. But what if you did something like Tarantino-esque and you're just telling different parts of the day to reveal something? I don't know. This is all getting me really excited. Not even for the Disney trip, but for coming back and editing. So I think the key is I do have to just try and record as much as possible. Keep that in mind, that the core of no matter what we're doing is story. And I have to focus on everybody's story and people in general. And I don't know. Maybe interactivity is the key, right? Maybe an interactive vlog is something that could be cool, where you use annotations to branch off. So maybe, you know, when that happens, you know, there are going to be times where, oh, and this is actually a cool idea, and I'm thinking of this as we record, but, you know, Christine is going to be splitting off from me, from the group for a day to go to Universal. I'm not joining her. Her and Matt are going, and surely she'll have a vlog about that. So maybe I can work in some sort of recording of when she goes off on her own or they go off on their own, and then use that to segue in an annotation or a card that links to her vlog, so that you can sort of interactively follow her as opposed to staying with us or bounce back to us. Something like that I think would be really cool. Anyway, that's just, I don't know, that's just my brain fart on vlogging. It's just something I'm really interested in, you know, even before I got into things like YouTube, I was very interested in editing and different ways to tell a story. And so doing all of this has sort of relit that fire, and it's made me really excited. And I would love to hear from you guys if you have ideas on different ways you think people would vlog, or the different ways people do vlog, of vlogs you do watch. Let me know in the comments below, or you can let me know on Twitter. I'm at Rob Plays. I'll read out a few of them in the next day in the parks. So speaking of reading out comments, last episode we talked all about Horizons, my love for Horizons, and why I thought it was one of the greatest theme park rides ever. And I asked you what your thoughts were on Horizons. We got some replies here. We have ETH6113, who says, I'd love for Horizons 2.0 to be created, but I agree it's not the way Future World is going. Disney seems to be more interested in bringing their IPs to Epcot than using edutainment to get kids interested in the future and other cultures, which, in all honesty, is the better business decision. I agree with you wholeheartedly on all of that. We have Disney Kid 93, who he didn't really comment on Horizons itself, but just to point out, he has built a functional recreation of Horizons in Minecraft on the creative server on MC Magic. So I would love to save showing off that ride until I do like a history of the ride video. But since that might take a while, I might just do a video showing you the ride itself, because it is really fantastic. It's like I think MC Magic level of quality there. We have A Spoonful of Disney, I love that name, who says, this is my favorite video that you have ever done, if not on YouTube. I am so passionate about Horizons as it's my favorite attraction, and this video is everything I could have ever wanted. Other YouTubers have made videos on it, but none of them captured it perfectly like you did. A huge thank you to you, Rob, and 2 big thumbs up from me. Thank you. I'm just glad that passion went through. I wasn't sure if I was going to be rambling about this ride that not nobody, but few people watching might have ridden. But yeah, it's one of those things I thought long and hard on. Why do I love this ride so much? Why is it on my mind all the time? Let's see. We have Memes, who says, I wish I could have ridden Horizons. I wish you could have as well. And then we have Connor Hinson, who says, I rode this when I was a wee lad. Unfortunately, I don't remember anything, but sounds like a great ride. Yeah, it was a great ride. It was a really great ride. And hopefully one day we'll see some sort of spiritual successor to Horizons. Anyway, like I said, I would love to hear your opinions and comments on vlogging, not just Disney vlogging, but vlogging in general and how it's evolving and changing. We can have a discussion on that. We'll probably talk about it again further along and closer to the trip, because I am going to be thinking long and hard on, how I could change things up and make a really interesting series. I figure I don't go to Disney like as often or as much as like See You Real Soon did, or as often as, a Fresh Baked Disney or people who live in the area who can go regularly. So when I do go, I want to make sure that, the lack of quantity is made up for with like a real extra focus on quality. And so that's my big thought there. Anyway, have a great week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. You want more Disney content, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do 3 Disney videos a week, and I try to do 1 a week where I'm here on one of the Minecraft servers just talking Disney. Again, have a great week, and I will see you next time for the next Day in the Parks. Bye, everybody.